back in the last half of the 16th century, Queen Elizabeth I of England and King Philip II of Spain were enemies. Protestant England and Imperial Catholic Spain were fighting over European lands, but also other colonies on other continents. By 1565, Spain, Portugal, and France were colonizing the New World. Spain had lots of people in South and Central America and the Caribbean, but England did not have any colonies. Sir Walter Raleigh wanted England to have colonies too. Sir Walter Raleigh was one of Queen Elizabeth's favorite men, with the money and the power to send expeditions to America. He established 2 colonies in between Florida, where the Spanish were, and Canada, where the French were beginning to explore. In 1584, Raleigh set up a scouting expedition for places good for colonizing. His ship landed on Roanoke Island off the coast of what is now North Carolina and was greeted by natives. The scouting expedition came back to England and stated that Roanoke Island was the perfect colonizing place. Arthur Barlow, one of the leaders of the expedition, wrote, "I think in all the world like an abundance is not to be found, and myself, having seen those parts of Europe most abound, find such difference as though it were incredible to be written." Walter Raleigh named the entire area in honor of Queen Elizabeth, who was called the Virgin Queen because she had no husband. He called it Virginia. Raleigh established 2 colonies, one in 1585 and one in 1587. In both ones, there were many flaws. With the first colony, they discovered that Roanoke Island wasn't like Barlow had described. The area wasn't very good for crops, and bad storms hit frequently. The colony was low on supplies the whole time. The supplies had to be bought from England. Clothes, food, and building supplies had to go on water and ships. Plus, they discovered natives and led battles against them, burnt their villages, and raided their crops. Then the natives took large parts of the colony. The supplies got low, disease was spreading rapidly like viruses, storms messing up, and natives were attacked at any possible time. Their motivation was dropping by the second. The colony was a big mess. The supplies got so low, yet when a relief ship arrived, the remaining colonists went back to England with the ship. The one good thing about the 1585 colonization was that John White made interesting records of native life. That was a good jump in Elizabethan science and art. He also mapped the area of Virginia. Through White's maps and drawings and writings, Raleigh decided the ideal colony place was Chesapeake Bay. The large ships could enter and anchor in the large bay opening and be safe from the ocean storms. The Chesapeake Bay had better crop conditions like good soil and better weather. So Raleigh told the 1587 colonization ships to go to Chesapeake Bay, but the reluctant captains went to Roanoke Island again. They wanted to keep as close to the Caribbean as they could so they could loot Spanish ships. The ship captains didn't care about the colonization because they couldn't make money off of that, but they left the colonists there and went straight to the Caribbean. The colony started having problems right away, and John White had to leave almost immediately to go back to England and get support. John White was unable to bring a relief ship supplies for 3 years because of the enormous quantities of ships that Philip II sent out to attack England. It was called the Spanish Armada. Because the Spanish Armada was so big, Queen Elizabeth wouldn't let any English boats leave until England defeated Spain, which they did. So John White was stuck for 3 years. When he finally got back to the colony, he was deserted. It became known as the Lost Colony of Roanoke. Even though it wasn't Raleigh's fault, his colonies were a failure. It's like Thomas Edison said, "Have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways it won't work." Raleigh's expeditions provided useful information about the New World and how not to make colonies, information that John Smith used when they started Jamestown in 1607.